Former President Donald Trump has lost his entire legal defense team. They have been, they have summarily quit and have been replaced. So sources tell ABC News that all 5 of the impeachment lawyers who were expected to represent Donald Trump in the upcoming impeachment trial have called it quits. Sad, baby. All right. Now, you might be wondering why. Is it because of Donald Trump's record of stiffing his lawyers, including Rudy Giuliani, who he did not pay $20,000 a day, like he said he was going to, or like was reported, and then also decided to stiff Rudy when it comes to a pardon. So maybe it's got something to do with it, maybe not. A little note on Rudy Giuliani, by the way. Rudy Giuliani would probably right now be representing Donald Trump in the impeachment trial had he not, went and said, let's have trial by combat. Okay, at that little get together during the certification process on January 6th. So just Rudy, I don't know why, but Rudy's ride or die. Or at least he was. I don't know what's going to happen to him now. All right, but anyway. So now officially the team, led by South Carolina Butch Bowers. Remember I talked about him. He was Lindsey Graham's favorite pick. Don't worry, Donna. We're going to hook you up with Butch Bowers, and he's going to take care of you, okay? That's like my best Lindsey Graham. I don't know why I do impressions now. I'm not supposed to be doing impressions. I'm supposed to be doing the news. Anyway, maybe because he incited the erection. You guys, you're not going to let that go, are you? You know what? Just to spite you guys, I'm going to put that on the soundboard and play that. Just because. All right, but anyway, Butch Bowers had resigned. So he was the head guy. He was like, oh, big name, Butch Bowers. And then Butch Bowers is like, Too rich for me, man. I'm not going to do that. Fun. So now why did he quit? Apparently it's in part due to disagreements over how to mount Trump's defense, according to sources. Trump's lawyers had originally planned to argue the constitutionality of holding a trial, given that Donald Trump is no longer in office as former president. Now that argument kind of irritates me a little bit, okay? Because here's the thing: you are trying to impeach him for a crime, high crimes and misdemeanors, right? That's impeachment. And I know impeachment is generally a tool to remove a sitting president. Well, we removed him one way or the other. The American people removed him, but there's the act of accountability. See, him being out of office didn't make it so that the crime didn't happen. The crime didn't go and get erased once he left office. The crime still happened. He is still responsible. It's sort of like working at a bank. I work at a bank, right? And I decide I'm going to embezzle a bunch of money. And then I'm going to quit the bank. And then when probably because I have all that money, right? Why would I need to work at a bank? But I just stole all that money. But then, when the cops catch up to me being like, what are you talking about? I don't work at the bank anymore. I'm no longer a bank official. So, were you going to come after me for embezzling the cash, for stealing that money? No. Why would you ever do that? It's in the past. You shouldn't come after me for it. But it's crime. It's crime. Crime is crime. And in this case, the crime is inciting insurrection against the United States in order to try to keep himself into power. And so that's the problem here. And just because he failed to stay in power, the insurrection did fail, okay? That doesn't mean that we should ignore the people who incited the attempt. I'm just saying. And look, you've got, I'm guessing you're going to have a long line of people, starting with, QAnon shaman Jacob Chansley, or Jacob, whatever his name is, right? He's the guy with the boots and the fur. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to do that. All right, sorry. There's going to be, starting with him, a long line of people who are going to testify that, oh yeah, it wasn't me, it wasn't my fault. Donald Trump incited me, and I believed him. And so they were incited by the president's words and actions, And so we're going to see how that defense works out. And actually, as I'm going to get to, it probably will work. But they continue. So the strategies, the disagreements over the strategy varied. Sources told ABC News. But Trump wanted his team to argue that there was election fraud. So this is the big disagreement. So like, yeah, we can protect you, constitutionality and all that. And, you know, can't really impeach, in their words, can't impeach a president that's already out of office. So what's he really going to do? It's not really constitutional. It hasn't been done before. And I guess if you're reading like as an originalist, maybe, okay. All right, but Trump's like, no, I want you to argue that there was massive fraud, so much election fraud. Let me tell you, remember guys, the
dumps, big massive dumps.
There's so many dumps, so many ballot dumps, I won the election and I won it big. And you guys need to argue on that, okay? Even though I have absolutely no proof, and I will also get in trouble, you know, if I actually ever brought it to a real judge and tried to make that argument, I would get in trouble for it. Oh, yeah, okay. He's still on that, by the way. I cannot believe this. He cannot believe, he cannot accept that he lost. And I know there's some disagreement here among liberals, among progressives, about how mentally sound Trump is. And maybe there's disagreements on, do you think Donald Trump is really believes this? Or do you think that he's lying, he's grifting and making excuses? I actually generally do believe that he lives in a fantasy world of his own making, of his own design. One where Donald Trump is the undisputed winner of everything. He is the best at everything he tries. And the only way that he could ever lose or fail is not because of himself or anything that he's done. No. Not because he's not good enough or not smart enough or, you know, not a raging dumpster fire of a person. No. It's because everyone is against him because they are jealous, they're envious of how strong and smart and great he is, that they have all conspired to go and shut him down, even his friends. It really is, I think, clearly in classic narcissistic behavior. That's what it feels like, okay? And here's the kicker about this, right? I mentioned before, he's probably going to get away with it. Yeah, of course he is. He's going to walk away. I have no illusions that the Senate, which is 50-50, right, which needs a 2/3 majority, is going to vote to convict Donald Trump. There's no way. I believe that they're still too afraid of him to actually do anything. They are the party of Trump, and because he has created this cult of personality among the majority and its members. So he's got majority approval within the party. People still love him. 40% of them would like to see him run again in 2024. So what you have here is a real problem inside of the Republican Party. And that said, they say the Republican Party is split, right? In reality, I think the voters have always, you know, been Trump-like. But the establishment is a little different. The establishment doesn't actually represent the average Republican voter. The establishment's only there to funnel money to the rich. Whereas Republican voters actually tend to be a little against some of the policies that tend to give more money to the wealthy, generally. And so it is pretty interesting on that. But there's a small populist strain within the Republican Party. That said, that doesn't mean that I want to ally with that, because what they tend to do is tend to correctly identify some of the problems facing this country and then falsely blame it on immigrants, the gay, woke culture, all that stuff. So I'm not going to ally with that. And they tend to support white supremacy and you know, and really like disgusting behavior. But anyway, you have a real problem, right? And so the establishment has used these dog whistles, and they've courted homophobic, transphobic, racist conspiracy theorists for a very, very long time. And now the only difference is that Donald Trump was really out in the open with it. And that's why they love him. Because to them, he had the courage to say what they've all been thinking this entire time. When in reality, again, Donald Trump He has no core ideology other than me, 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 me. How's that going to help me? And so he saw a group of people that were more than ready to be conned at a time where distrust in the governmental institutions and the establishment are, is at a record high. Nobody trusts that anymore. And they were willing to give him a shot or allow him to do what he was doing. And basically, he told these people exactly what they wanted to hear, and successfully, of course, pointed out real problems within the establishment in order to get into power. And then, once he was in power, use the establishment to personally profit. And that's it. That's what con men do. And he is a con man. And most of his followers, unfortunately, have not fully caught on. And of course, that, what this has to do with the lack of a conviction and impeachment is that those politicians are afraid of those followers. They're afraid of those voters who make up a large majority of the Republican voting base. Donald Trump has them, and he's not letting them go anytime soon. Okay, so it's going to remain the party of Trump for some time. And as a result, you're not going to see Donald Trump held to any sort of account by those same Republicans. You've got a few right now, like 10 Republicans, Suzanne Collins, Mitt Romney, some of those Republicans, Liz Cheney, of all people, we'll get to her next. But again, when it comes to the majority of Republicans, Mitch McConnell, surprisingly, but I think the majority of Republicans are still too afraid to vote against him because they're not in these safe areas like Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. So, and that's what's really messed up. Okay, he's not going to be held accountable for any of this, I don't think. And what that's going to do is that it's going to set a precedent in the party that you can, as a Republican, do whatever you want as president, break any law, doesn't matter. We're still going to back you because, well, hey, you're not the Democrat. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.